Welcome to another episode of the From Half Court Sports Talk Show with Darren and Rob. Today we're going to be talking about the Washington Commanders. But before we get into that, I want to talk about some NFL news. Apparently, Joe Mixon and Zach Taylor have been beefing since the end of the Super Bowl because Joe Mixon was upset that he was not in on that last drive of the Super Bowl. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I think Joe Mixon is a very talented running back. Uh, should he have been in the drive? Yes. Do I think it really would have changed much? Maybe, maybe not. I think ultimately he wouldn't have broke that tackle from Aaron Donald either. That P. Ryan got caught with in the short distance. Um, so I really don't think it really would change the difference too much. But I can't really blame him for not being in. You pay me like the top running back, let me be in there in those moments. So I can't. I'm 100% on Joe Mixon's side in that sense. But I also understand coaching and what you have to do. But I'm on Joe Mixon's side on this. You got to put him back in the game. He's getting paid. He's getting paid like it.
I actually strongly disagree with Joe Mixon. Zach Taylor made the right decision. I think is P Ryan is
Hmm.
there is a huge back. He's a short yardage back, and he's been a really solid short yardage back for them all season. It was a short yardage situation. All that happened was Aaron Donald's a fucking freak and pulled him back. He
Okay.
literally pulled him back from crossing the line. So I think Joe Mixon's just kind of salty that they lost. I don't think this is a Marshawn Lynch situation at all.
Yeah, I don't think a Marshawn Lynch situation, but he should have been in the drive at least because maybe it doesn't even come down to that short distance with him in the game.
Maybe. All right, but on to the main topic of the show. We're going to be talking about the Washington Commanders today. So let's start off with what's your feelings about the Washington Commanders coming into this offseason?
Um, I like what they did in the offseason personally. I think Carson Wentz still has a little bit in him. Obviously, he's been moved off of twice now, back to back years. So I'm expecting something from him. He still has the big arm. Carson Wentz's problem still seems to be that he just holds the ball a little bit too long and he needs to just let it rip. Sometimes those plays work, sometimes it doesn't. But I think with this receiver core is very great. You got Dotson as as the rookie. You got Terry McLaurin who just got paid. You got Curtis Samuel who really needs to stay healthy and show what he can do because I'm pretty sure he got paid to go to this team last year. Logan Thomas is also pupless, I believe, or something like that. So I see the offense get healthy and get out there. Obviously, they got J.D. McKissick. They got Antonio Gibson back there. I think their running game is very solid. Receivers talented. Offensive line is not terrible, and I think Carson Wentz just needs to be a distributor of the ball instead of looking for the big play. Defensively, that defensive line needs to stay healthy. Like that was the biggest disappointment last year. So many people thought that defense was going to be so nice, get so much more sacks, stop the run because of what they did the year before, especially at the end of the season. And it didn't start like that. It didn't look like that most of the season because of the injury. So I want to see them boys stay healthy.
So I'm gonna disagree with you on one thing. I don't like their running backs. I don't want to say Antonio Gibson is a bust, but I think he's a little overrated for what he is supposed to be doing. I like J.D. McKissick as a back, because I think he's very uh
Versatile.
yeah, he's very versatile. He's very quick. You can do dump offs in the backfield and things like that. And I think they should be way better as a 1-2 punch combo than what the Commanders are using them as. So I think the Commanders are kind of not putting them in the best situations to use them. So they're kind of an overrated duo per se. Um, so I really don't like that. Uh, we saw in the draft that they added a couple Alabama players. Uh, I think it's crazy that they added another defensive tackle from Alabama. I think this defensive line is just getting disgusting at this point.
Freakish. It's freakish.
Um, I think if they were able to get maybe draft like a shutdown corner or something, or just a really good or develop a really good corner on this team, this defense can be even better than what it is already right now. I love the pickup of getting Dotson out of Penn State. I think he's going to be maybe not right away, but by year 2, year 3, I think he's going to be so dynamic for this team and could possibly help this team push this team into a playoff position. But I
I,
do want to get into the depth chart because I do want to talk about Carson Wentz, right
yeah, I
away.
do. Before we get to one,
You froze on me. I'm gonna give him a second.
don't you think that it becomes a lot more predictable knowing that their quarterback situation was what it was the past 2 years?
Repeat that. You froze.
The running back situation, don't you think is a lot more predictable with the past couple years with their because of their quarterback situation?
Yes, it's predictable in the sense of you kind of know what they're going to do. Um,
And that can limit the running
but
back.
yes, that can limit the running backs. But I still don't think they were putting it in the best situations to succeed. And the way Antonio Gibson is hyped up, these I think they expect him to be a top 10 running back in the NFL. And with JD McKissick, I think they should be like a top 10 duo in the NFL as well. And I just don't think they lived up to that potential.
Okay.
But saying that, speaking of their quarterback situation, I don't think their quarterback situation got any better. Is Carson Wentz a better quarterback than who did they have last year?
Taylor Heineke,
Taylor Heineke?
because Ryan
Yes.
Fitzpatrick got hurt.
Yes. Is he better than Ryan Fitzpatrick? Yes. How much better is he? I think he's a better decision maker than both of them, and I think he has a veteran presence that he could possibly bring to this team. But I don't think this does anything to push the team forward. I feel like he's just a bridge quarterback until they're able to draft something long term. I think they still need to draft a franchise quarterback. It might not be next year, might not be the year after that, but they need to find a year to be able to draft their franchise quarterback, and they might have to trade up to do it because this defense is being on paper is looking more beautiful every year as we move on. And the worst thing that can happen is you get to the point where you're gonna have to start paying these dudes, and you're put in a financial position where you're gonna have to keep getting veteran quarterbacks that didn't work in um, other situations, other teams, other cities. And it's still not putting you over that hump. One last
Um,
thing, and because of that, they're not necessarily in a historic over the past like 4 or 5 years. They're not necessarily in a tough division. That division has been really bad compared to
please,
other divisions in the NFL. You can argue the worst division in the
please.
NFL over the past 4 to 5 years. So they're not in a bad division, but they're still in a very competitive division. And to be able
Yeah,
to not only get over that hump of making the playoffs, to actually be able to make a run at the championship at an NFC championship game, they need to get a quarterback. They need a young quarterback to be there for the next 10 years.
I understand kind of what you're saying, but I also kind of disagree. I think Carson Wentz is nice. I think he can do the job. Maybe not the first year, maybe the second year. I think the receiving core is very talented. Uh, I think Carson Wentz needs to take his job and be just a distributor and try to be more of a game manager for this team for his skill set, if that makes sense. I don't know. I kind of disagree with you.
Here's
Um,
another thing. I forgot they drafted Sam Howell. Um, but I kind of look at Sam Howell in the same position that Malik Willis is in Tennessee.
kind of develop.
If they can develop Sam Howell to be that guy in through 2 3 seasons from now, so Sam Howell going into his third season, fourth season, if he can be that guy and be NFL ready, I think he will be perfect for this team to move forward. But they would have to be able to develop him and figure that out.
Carson Wentz is also has he ever had weapons like this at receiver?
No, he's always been in run games, heavy run games.
Yeah, bro.
Good
This is
receivers, but not superstar level.
I think this is different. I think this is just different. I think there's speed every like Damani Brown, bro. I'm pretty sure he's one of the fastest people on this team. Like they're a fast receiving core. I really think he just needs to stop holding the ball. This is not an offense where you can hold the ball though. That's the thing. That's the biggest problem with Carson Wentz. He cannot hold the ball with these guys. They're fast, they're going to get open, but you know, there's times you're just gonna have to take that slant and let them do what the fuck they can do with it. No, I don't know.
I
Also,
think. Go ahead.
ownership sucks. This is the only organization that I say needs to be sold in the NFL.
I agree with that. I have one more thing on Carson Wentz. I think best case scenario for Carson Wentz this season is he's the ultimate game manager, and he doesn't lose games for them, but he prevents them from losing games, and they let the defense win games for them. As long as, and that doesn't necessarily mean scoring on every drive, but if they can have um, long possessions where they can chew up some clock, then still be able to kick it deep and play like field position games. I think that would be great for this defense. Because another thing I've noticed over the past like 2 years about this team, I feel like they punt the ball. They have three and outs, like a ton of three and outs. So I think if they can hold the ball and keep possession, and maybe not, like I said, not score every play, but play a little field position football, they have a chance in winning a decent amount of games this year. But that's best case
Yeah,
scenario.
I think it's very interesting when we look at these two players I'm about to name, Jared Goff with Carson Wentz, because they got paid around the same time with that big amount of money. Carson Wentz is on his since then, pretty much. I don't think they're complaining about Jared Goff and with the Lions. They might be looking for that option in the next couple of years, but they're not like, "Well, let's go get somebody else. This guy is no. They know, hey, this guy can do the job. He can get us there. And boom, Carson Wentz is like one of those. It's a question.
All right. How are you looking at this line this year going into this season?
Look, I'll tell you the same thing I told about the offensive line last year. They were good. Taylor looked like he had plenty of time, and he did good. That's not going to be the thing that holds them back, especially in pass coverage. I don't know about running game necessarily, but definitely pass. They were a solid offensive line.
All right. Let's move on to the defense. Obviously, I don't know who doesn't love this defensive line. This defensive line is any NFL coach's football dream. Um, it looks like Chase Young is out with a knee injury, and he's probably gonna miss week 1 of the season. I hate to see that shit because that boy is such a dominant player. But hopefully, we just pray for him to get healthy, to help this team out. This team is it's easily the best defensive line in the league. Um, they just did a beautiful job of just drafting great defensive linemen. From Jonathan Allen to Montez Sweat to Chase Young. They're all very diverse, but they're just solid. I think it's also crazy that the whole defensive line is SEC and Big Ten.
Uh, Makes
Two
sense.
Alabama guys. Montez Sweat went to like Ole Miss or Mississippi or something like that, and Chase Young, Ohio State. Uh, you they went to like the big schools, the two biggest conferences, and got superstars at all 4 positions on that line. I think that shit looks amazing.
It definitely looks crazy. It definitely looks crazy. I just wanted to make sure they're healthy. And the thing was, like I said, it looked great going into last year, but they didn't show up. You know what I mean? Like they were losing games because of the defensive line not getting there. I think they took at the beginning of the year. a lot of teams took the strategy of getting the ball out very quickly, and it worked.
How do you look at their linebackers?
Uh, I don't know too many of these names, but I would assume that it's a very diverse group. Another thing we probably haven't even mentioned. Ron Rivera is like a very good defensive coach. Like, let's be real. And usually the staple of his defense is the linebacker, the Luke Kuechly, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know who that guy's going to be, but if I had to assume, it'll probably be Holcomb. I don't know why.
I think a lot of pressure is going to be on their corners and safeties this year as well. Since they
Yeah,
have such a good defensive line, it should make their jobs easier. Um, Maybe in these next couple of years they'll be able to develop a shutdown corner or draft one. I think that's the one thing this team is missing. Maybe it's not a corner. Maybe you could just get a really crazy good safety as well. I think that would put this defense in the next level, so we can start having conversations of being one of the best defenses in the league and possibly helping this team push their way to into deep playoff runs.
most definitely.
All right, you got anything to say about the depth chart before we move on to schedules?
Nah, I'm just ready to see. I'm ready for some what's it called? What's the game called? Preseason games. I want to start seeing these guys in the preseason.
Gotcha. I definitely feel that. I think your boys are playing Thursday, so that's probably what you're excited for.
Yeah, that I really want to see the backups for a lot of these teams, the Taylor Heineke's and other people like that. The quarterbacks that just came in, who's going to get that time? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The Sam Howells of the world. You know.
Yep, definitely. All right, so they start off week one versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Definitely a tough game, but they should definitely pull it out. I think that's going to be a very good throwing game for Carson Wentz and Trevor Lawrence. I'm saying everything's Taylor now.
I definitely like the Redskins in this game. I
Commanders.
think they're going to eat Trevor Lawrence alive. He's just lucky that boy Chase Young isn't there to fuck him up for what he did to Ohio State.
Yeah,
Uh, Week two at Detroit.
that's a defensive line. That's debatably the best offensive line, best young offensive line in the league. Um, I'm going to say Detroit's rookie's not going to be there yet, so I'm going to have the Commanders pulling this one out as well.
I agree. I think this is going to be a really good game to watch, though.
100%. I think it's going to be their first two games are going to be very good to watch.
Week three versus Philly.
I don't think start getting real. Um, I think they lose this game versus Philly. Yeah, but I think they just both the teams are built on in the trenches, so that's where you're going to want to watch if you do watch this game. But ultimately, this com ooh, is this his first shot getting his revenge versus Philly too? He may. Can
You froze.
you hear me?
I can hear you, but you froze. Give me a second.
Okay. Let me know when I'm back.
Go ahead.
All right. Has Carson Wentz got his revenge versus Philly yet?
I don't know if the Colts played them last year or not.
Well, if he is going to get it, it will be this game instead of at Philly. But this is a tough one. I think they're still going to lose it.
I feel like this is a big game from Jalen Hurts. I feel like this is either Jalen Hurts wins this game with his legs, or he throws three picks and loses this game.
If that's the case, Carson Wentz is going to look really good.
So I think this is big for Jalen Hurts. I think they're going to be so much after him that he's going to have to use his legs and to win this game. I'm going to take Philly in this game.
Me too.
Week 4 at Dallas.
Now we're talking. If Chase Young is back by then, uh, there's no answer for Micah for really at Dallas. Boy, this is tough. What you going with?
I'm expecting Dallas's defense to step up big in this game and to win them this football game. I'm still sketchy on Dallas and how this offense is going to look of a CD Lamb being the number one receiver.
Mm-hmm.
It's really going to depend how CD Lamb looks like as the number one receiver, getting the best corner put it on him, getting double teamed. That's really what I'm looking for Dallas. So I'm going to take Washington with an upset in this game.
Okay. Uh, I'm actually going the same way because Bob, quickly is Dallas offensive line is not looking the same as the past couple years when they were dominant. That coupled with the defensive line of the Commanders, and I like you said, I'm just not sure what their offense is going to look like. Also, I think Philly's going to run the ball very effectively the week before, so Dallas is going to try to do that too, but they're not going to be the same. They're clearly not the same running team. Zeke isn't going to do what Miles Sanders is going to do, and yeah, I think that's the reason why the Commanders win.
Week 5 versus Tennessee.
Um,
I think this is going to be football at its best. I
oh,
think
this is
this is going to
trenches.
be a bloodbath.
This is trenches. Trenches. Oh man. I'm gonna say Tennessee pulls this game out because of what I saw them do last year. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. But I think this game out because of what they did last year with NFC, and I just think that they're going to be the better team that day.
This is a really tough game for me. When I see things like this, and I see somebody have like a really good offensive line, a really good defensive line, somebody's going to come out on the better end because I think somebody has to come out on the better end. But for sake of on paper purposes, I think they're going to cancel each other out, and I'm going to look at the everything around that. I think Tennessee still has a way better quarterback than Washington does, and I think Tennessee's defense is going to be in a way better position to win the football game than Washington's offense will be, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take Tennessee in this game because of that.
Oh, that makes sense. I am still a little bit off by what you mean by like. Do you believe in Carson Wentz at all?
I'm not bullish on Carson Wentz. I would not be buying Carson Wentz stock um, at all. I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy his stock.
All right.
I
All
would
right.
definitely leave that alone.
I
I
think you
think
still.
so. As simple as this for me. I don't like veteran quarterbacks from other teams that weren't able to get it done with other teams. I don't like bringing in those quarterbacks.
Because he went to the Colts and he wasn't able to get it done. Is that what you're saying?
He looked good in Philly, but they decided Nick Foles was a better quarterback. And
No, they decided Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback.
touche. They decided Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback. They moved on and went to the Colts. He didn't play bad with the Colts, but he played bad enough for them to say, "All right, we're going to move on to something different." And now he's in Washington. And he's not as bad as Ryan Fitzpatrick because I don't like Ryan Fitzpatrick at all. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is like not even like a poor man's Brett Favre. I think he's an off-brand Brett Favre. I think you get Ryan Fitzpatrick at Aldi. So I think he's better than that, but he's a game manager, man. I don't think
He's
he's gonna
not though. That's the
impact the
problem.
game by possession, keeping the football in their hands, not necessarily scoring, but keeping the football and not turning the ball over. And I don't know
He
if he can
turned.
do that with this offensive line.
I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is that he's not doing it these past couple years. I believe in his talent, but there's something off with him. Like he needs to be in a timing rhythm offense.
That's gonna be hard to do if not a good offensive line though.
He was with a good offensive line last year and missed the playoffs.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have missed the playoffs. They had a really bad
They
start.
shouldn't have. And you
They
know why
got
they lost?
super hot, and but
You know
somehow still
why
lost
they
to the
missed the
fucking
playoffs? You know why they missed it?
because they lost to Jacksonville.
Because of Carson Wentz.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, it was Carson Wentz. Jonathan Taylor was doing his thing.
I don't believe in Carson Wentz. I'm not bullish on him. I wouldn't buy his stock. That's all I can say.
I gotta see one more year. But last year was very troublesome. Like the past 2 or 3 years been like hard for me to watch Carson Wentz. But I just see what he does with the ball on certain throws, and I'm like, yes, this guy got it still. So I don't know. But yeah, next game at
Uh, I don't know where we're at. Where we at?
Thursday night at Chicago, week 6.
Week 6. All right. I think they should be able to beat Chicago. Chicago's not a good football team. This
Uh,
should be a boring Thursday night blowout.
it should be boring, but I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. Actually, it might not even be boring with you. I think David Montgomery can run on this team, but
Why?
I think the Commanders should pull this game out.
Why do you think David Montgomery's going to have a good game?
I think their weakness is actually going to be their run defense, no matter how good that defensive line is. I think they're going to be really good, maybe at getting at the quarterback, but stopping the run is going to be something different.
I would agree with you if they didn't draft that Alabama defensive tackle. I think that's really going to solidify that middle of the field. I think that's why they got him to solidify it.
I, I mean, I feel you, but I also remember what Georgia was able to do with Zamir White in that championship game. So we'll see. That's all I can say.
Week 7 versus the Packers.
They're lose. They're going to lose to the Packers, even if they're going to lose. Might be a
Yeah,
heroic game, but they're going to lose.
yeah. I like Aaron Rodgers in this game, and if Aaron Rodgers has that chemistry with his receivers by this point, and he's just gonna put his receivers in the best possible positions to win. And I think they're going to tear up these corners, and I don't think they're going to be able to get to him in this game.
Yeah.
Week 8 at Colts, revenge game for Carson Wentz.
Looking for revenge and won't find it. Well, Jonathan Taylor will have a good game. Uh,
Bless you.
yeah, Jonathan Taylor will have a really good game. I think Frank Wright, like he apologized to the organization, so I don't think he's going to lose this game.
I think it would be the greatest thing in the world if Carson Wentz goes out there and just busts their ass.
But
Because I don't I
yeah.
don't think it's that blasphemous to think either. I think Washington pulls out a close game.
So
You cut out. What's up?
you got Commanders winning it.
Yep, I have the Commanders winning this game.
John don't. I got the Colts winning it. I think Matt Ryan proved that he was a better quarterback than Carson Wentz that day.
Week 9 versus Minnesota.
Minnesota's going to win.
I agree. Week 10 at Philly.
That is going to be a shootout though. Second game at Philly. Oh, Philly's going to win this game. Not only are they going to win it, they are going to. They are going. Those Philly fans are going to go crazy talking about Carson Wentz.
Um, I'm gonna take Washington in this game. I think
That
they're gonna
is
be able to. I think they're what they weren't able to do in the first game. I think they're gonna be able to get to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts throws 2 or 3 picks, and they pull it out.
no, no, no. That's not happening, bro. Uh, the fan base by itself is going to be the reason why
No,
Philly
they're gonna
wins.
be they're gonna be pissed off. They're probably gonna be fighting each other like the Raiders fans or something.
No, they're going to be fighting Carson Wentz and throwing stuff at him. Like,
I would too, because after
boo.
they lost. All right. At week 11 at Houston,
They should be able to pull this game out. They really should be able to. Um, yeah,
definitely
they
the
really should
Commanders
be
should
able
win
to.
this game.
They should. They should. Don't be surprised though.
Week 12 at versus Atlanta.
They should be able to pull this game out as well. Offensive line is not great for Atlanta.
Agreed. They should destroy Atlanta. Week 13 at Giants.
I got them winning this game.
I agreed. Bye week, week 14. Then week 15, they play the Giants again. I've never seen that happen before.
What?
Play
I've seen that happen.
play your division rival back to back,
Pretty
and
much, yeah.
not including playoffs.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Um, I think this is tough. This is tough. I got the. Oh, this is tough. Sheesh. Yeah, I got the Commanders still winning it.
I agree.
It was hard for me to say that.
Week 16 of at San Francisco.
They will lose this game to San Francisco, even if Trey Lance is not the greatest quarterback.
I agree. And while we're talking about San Francisco, they were able to lock up Debo Samuel for another 3 years.
Yep.
So I I think he's getting three. He's getting a contract extension for 3 years for $71 million, which is going
58
to equal
guaranteed.
out to around 23 million a year,
Yep.
which is right under what he was, what the media had him wanting, which was around 25. And it looks like, according to San Francisco, they don't plan them to use him as a running back too either. So
Solid.
I think this is great news for Debo Samuel. They're going to have him until he's 26 years old.
Debo's 26.
No, no, no. I think he's like 23 right now. When his contract ends, he's going to be 26, I believe.
That's solid. But yeah, that's big for them. Definitely big.
Week 17 versus Cleveland.
Yeah, they're going to lose to Cleveland. They're up.
Deshaun Watson's going to be back by now. I actually think Cleveland's going to be able to pull this game out.
Yep, me too. With the running game and Nick Chubb as well.
Wait, who'd you have winning?
Cleveland. Cleveland's going to win this game.
Okay. Week 18 versus Dallas, the end of the season.
Oh, they're going to beat Dallas in the last game of the season. It's going to be
I
very embarrassing.
I think Dallas is going to be fighting for a playoff spot, and they're going to have to win this game. I think Dak somehow pulls it out.
I think they stop them. They stop the Cowboys from going to the playoffs or a good seeding in the playoffs, maybe.
All right. Any last thoughts about the Commanders before we wrap up?
Uh, Sell the team for the love of God. Terrible terrible leadership. Uh, Terrible leadership out of DC too, but the American team, like a American sport, not good. But yeah, I'm looking for Carson Wentz overall. I'm waiting to see that caliber season that he had back in 2017. I want to see that at some point.
Uh, since we're talking about ownership, who's a worse owner? Uh, the Dolan out of the from the New York Knicks, or this guy for the Washington Redskins?
Oh, hands down, this guy,
What do you remember his name?
Schneider,
Yes. Okay.
Dan Schneider. He's the worst. Like you could say Dolan is bad, but there's people who are actually good on Dolan. I have very, very hard time finding somebody that because it's hard to, bro. Like the shit that he's accused of is just like just greaseball shit, like some of the earth type shit. And that's just not good. Like, well, Dolan is just like, bro, yeah, I would hate to be a fan of the team. Like, that's what that is. This is more like, I want to be the fan of this team, but this guy is the fucking worst.
I agree with you. Still, I think stealing money from the league like that is absolutely crazy. I thought he should have been kicked out the league immediately. I don't. Hopefully, he doesn't have this team for much longer, and they force him to sell it. Hopefully, to somebody black.
Facts. Chocolate City, but let's be real, nation's capital ain't. Well, I'm gonna leave that one.
All right. All right, so let us know down below what you think. How you think the Washington Commanders season is going to play out. Make sure you sack the subscribe button and throw a touchdown to this subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Peace, y'all stay up.